أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله أستعينه واستغفر ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا من يهد الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلله فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله أرسله بالحق بشيرا ونذيرا بين يدي الساعة من يطع الله ورسوله فقد رشد ومن يعصهما فإنه لا يضر إلا نفسه ولا يضر الله شيئا. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما صليت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. اللهم بارك على محمد وعلى آل محمد كما باركت على إبراهيم وعلى آل إبراهيم إنك حميد مجيد. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقه قولي. ربي زدني علما. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. My dear audiences, brothers, friends, sisters and relatives who are watching through Facebook, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. It is a great pleasure for me to attend this Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, and at the very beginning I would like to express my deep gratitude to Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala, who has given us opportunity to attend this Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, and let us say Alhamdulillah, all praises are for Almighty Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala. Inshallah, in today's Tafsirul Qur'an Mahfil, we shall have a discussion on verse number 25 to 29 from Suratul Ambia from the Holy Qur'an. So as usual, at the very beginning we shall go to the recitation as well as meaning of these verses. Then inshallah we shall go to the elaborate discussion. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. وما أرسلنا من قبلك من رسول إلا نوحي إليه أنه لا إله إلا أنا فاعبدون. وقالوا اتخذ الرحمن ولدا سبحانه بل عباد مكرمون لا يسبقون له بالقول وهم بأمره يعملون. يعلم ما بين أيديهم وما خلفهم ولا يشفعون إلا لمن ارتضى وهم من خشيته مشفقون. ومن يقل منهم إني إله من دونه فذلك نجزيه جهنم كذلك نجزي الظالمين. صدق الله العلي العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين. سبحان الله وبحمده سبحان الله العظيم. اللهم صل على محمد عبدك ورسولك. I seek refuge, I seek shelter to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from the accursed devil, from the accursed shaitan. And I am beginning with the name of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who is most merciful, most beneficent. وَمَا أَرْسَلْنَا مِنْ قَبْلِكَ مِنْ رُسُلٍ إِلَّا نُوحِي إِلَيْهِ أَنَّهُ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا أَنَا فَاعْبُدُونَ. I sent each and every messengers. I sent each and every messenger to preach the invitation that there is no creator but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, so worship only for him. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا سُبْحَانَهُ. The non-believers say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken son. Glory to him. بَلْ عِبَادٌ مُكْرَمُونَ. Moreover, they are the respected servants of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. لَا يَسْبِقُونَهُ بِالْقَوْلِ وَهُمْ بِأَمْرِهِ يَعْمَلُونَ. They are not forwarded. They do not forward while speaking. Only they do as per direction of command of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِيهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is behind them, what is before them. وَلَا يَسْفَعُونَ إِلَّا لِمَنِ ارْتَضَى وَهُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَتِهِ مُشْفِقُونَ. And they do not recommend for those upon whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not pleased. And they are afraid, they are always afraid of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَمَنْ يَقُلْ مِنْهُمْ إِنِّي إِلَهٌ مِّن دُونِهِ فَذَلِكَ نَزْدِهِ جَهَنَّمْ. And he who claims to be creator in place of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will give him reward, and the reward will be the hell, the fire. كَذَلِكَ نَزْزِي الظَّالِمِينَ. And this will be the proper reward for the wrongdoers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said the truth, and his prophets and messengers have also said the truth. All praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. O Allah, bless our Prophet and your servant Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. This was the recitation as well as meaning of verse number 25 to 29 from Suratul Ambia. The word Ambia comes from the word Nabiun. Nabiun means one prophet, and Ambia is the plural number of Nabiun. Ambia means prophets. And this Suratul Ambia, verse number 25, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has categorically declared that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has, being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent innumerous prophets and messengers in order to spread Tawheed. What is Tawheed? Tawheed means Imanun bi ilahi wahid. Tawheed means keeping faith on only one creator, and he is Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Tawheed is the main theme. Tawheed is the main teachings of Islam. And in verse number 25, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is categorically saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent innumerous prophets and messengers. And all the prophets and messengers were directed, were commanded by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to spread teachings of Islam, to spread Tawheed, oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So, being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that Tawheed is the main theme of Islam. Tawheed is the main teachings of Islam. And being a Muslim, we must have belief, we must believe that our Creator is only one. And our Creator does not have any partner. Our Creator does not have any son. Our Creator does not have any daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having sons and daughters and wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having any partner. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not dependent to anyone. But all the creatures are dependent on Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being a Muslim, we shall have to keep belief, this aqidah, this belief. So, in verse number 25, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has categorically stated, Tawheed is the main theme of Islam, Tawheed is the main teachings of Islam, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has earlier sent all the prophets and messengers. And last prophet and messenger was our beloved prophet, Hazrat Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And our beloved prophet, the last messenger, also invited the people of the world towards the Tawheed, towards the oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In verse number 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is refuting. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is disproving the false allegation of the non-believers. What is the false allegation which is brought by the non-believers? In verse number 26, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا سُبْحَانَهُ. The non-believers say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken a son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is refuting their false allegation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is disproving their false allegation of having son of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Subhanahu. Allah subhanahu, glory to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the allegation of having son. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the allegation of having daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the allegation of having wife. And here this verse has been revealed. The non-believers of Islam used to say that the angels are the daughter of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nauzubillahi min zalik. And that false allegation is being refuted by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That false allegation terming the angels as the daughter of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is being refuted, being disproving by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by revealing this verse. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Subhanahu. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the allegation, from the fault of having son, from the fault of having daughter. Bal ibadum mukramun. The angels are the respected servants of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created innumerous creatures. Innumerous creatures. And among that innumerous creatures, angels are one of the creatures and nothing else. And here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has said the angels, Bal ibadum mukramun. They are the respected servants of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing else. And what is their characteristics? Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that we the people, Ashraful Makhlukat, we the human being, the best creatures, the honorable creatures, we are the Ashraful Makhlukat. Human beings are the Ashraful Makhlukat, honorable creatures, best creatures. And we have been created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by soil, by earth. And the angels are being created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And for that reason, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has termed them ibadum mukramun, as respected servants. And here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in verse number 27 and 28, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given some characteristics of the angels. What are the characteristics of angels? لا يسبقونه بالقول وهم بأمره يعملون. The angels do not speak forwardly. Do not speak forward in front of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They only perform the duties commanded by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and nothing else. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that angels are made of nur of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, made by the nur of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for that reason, at first we shall have to have belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having food. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having drink. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having sons or daughters. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of taking birth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of meeting death. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never becomes tired. And since the angels have been created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the nur of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, by the light of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and for that reason, angels are also free from the fault of having food. Angels are also free from the fault of having drinks. They only perform the duty commanded by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In verse number 28, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, يَعْلَمُ مَا بَيْنَ أَيْدِهِمْ وَمَا خَلْفَهُمْ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows what is behind them, what is in front, before them. وَلَا يَسْفَوْنَ إِلَّا لِمَنِ ارْتَضَى وَهُمْ مِنْ خَشْيَتِهِ مُشْفِقُونَ. And the non-believers of Makkah used to worship the idols and images. And they used to say that these idols and images are the idols and images of angels. And angels are the daughter of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nauzubillahi min zalik. And these idols and images, if we worship these idols and images, the angels will recommend for us. These were the belief of the non-believers of Makkah. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is refuting their belief, this false belief. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is disproving their false belief, saying that لا يسفعون إلا لمن ارتضى وهم من خشيته مشفقون. The angels will not recommend. The angels will not recommend for anyone who are not pleased by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That means the angels only recommend for those who are the righteous people, who are the righteous believers, and upon whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is satisfied. If Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is satisfied on us, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased on us, and the angels will only recommend for us who are being pleased, who are being satisfied by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So here, a false belief of the non-believers of Makkah have been refuted, have been explained, have been disproved, that the angels will recommend for them. Nauzubillahi min zalik. The angels will never recommend a non-believers. Only the righteous believers will be recommended by the angels. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pleased, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is satisfied on the righteous believers. That means the mu'min. And in verse number 29, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَمَنْ يَقُلْ مِنْهُمْ إِنِّي إِلَهٌ مِّن دُونِهِ فَذَلِكَ نَزِّيهِ جَهَنَّمَ كَذَلِكَ نَزِّي الظَّالِمِينَ. And those who are claiming themselves as the creator in place of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, their destination will be fire. And these wrongdoers will get their proper reward by throwing in the fire, by throwing in the hell. Now inshallah we shall go with some relevant other verses from Holy Qur'an. Those are relevant in today's tafsir. At first, verse number 114 and 116 and 117 of Suratul Baqarah. Verse number 114 and 117 Suratul Baqarah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا سُبْحَانَهُ بَلْ لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ كُلٌّ لَهُ قَانِتُونَ بَدِيعُ السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ وَإِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ وَلَدًا. The non-believers say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken a son, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has received son. Subhanahu, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from that allegation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, glory to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. بَلْ لَهُ مَا فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ. Moreover, everything either on the sky or in the earth belong to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. كُلٌّ لَهُ قَانِتُونَ. Everything either on the sky or in the earth are obedient, most obedient to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Badi'u samawati wal ard. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the skies and the earths. وَإِذَا قَضَى أَمْرًا فَإِنَّمَا يَقُولُ لَهُ كُن فَيَكُونُ. And whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to create anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just say be and it is. Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will receive sons or daughter? Why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take partner? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala whenever wants to create anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just says be and it is. Why He will take sons or daughters? Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a nice argument, has given a nice logic to believe that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any son or daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any partner. Because whenever Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to create anything, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala just says be and it is. Kun fayakun. This was verse number 116 and 17 from Suratul Baqarah, relevant in today's tafsir. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 100 and 101 from Suratul An'am. 100 and 101 from Suratul An'am. Here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ شُرَكَاءَ الْجِنَّ وَخَلَقَهُمْ وَخَلَقُوا لَهُ بَنِينَ وَبَنَاتٍ بِغَيْرِ عِلْمٍ سُبْحَانَهُ وَتَعَالَى عَمَّا يَصِفُونَ. Many people of this world used to worship the jinn. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that jinn is nothing but a creature of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before creating the human being, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created the jinns. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in Surah Zariyat categorically said, وَمَا خَلَقْتُ الْجِنَّ وَالْإِنسَ إِلَّا لِيَعْبُدُونَ. I have created jinn and man only for worship of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and for nothing else. And jinn have been created by fire. And jinn means not visible. وَجَعَلُوا لِلَّهِ شُرَكَاءَ الْجِنَّ. someone wants to make the jinn as partner of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nauzubillahi min zalik. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is refuting this false allegation. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is disproving their false allegation, making the jinn as the partner of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, وَخَلَقَهُمْ. They have also been created like the human beings. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created many creatures, and jinn is nothing but a creature of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَخَرَقُوا لَهُ بَنِينَ وَبَنَاتٍ بِغَيْرِ إِلْمٍ. Since most of the people do not have knowledge, most foolishly they consider sons and daughter for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Subhanahu wa ta'ala amma yasifun. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free what they speak, what they say. That means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having sons or daughters. Badi'u samawati wal ard. Moreover, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the creator of the skies and the earth, skies and the worlds. Not only this little world, there are so many worlds, and all the worlds have been created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Anna yakunu lahu waladun walam takun lahu sahiba. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is here giving another logic. How Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will have son? Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not take any wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require wife. وَخَلَقَ كُلَّ شَيْءٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything. وَهُوَ بِكُلِّ شَيْءٍ عَلِيمٍ. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows everything. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has knowledge of everything. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief that our Creator, only Creator, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is free from the fault of having son, is free from the fault of having daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having food. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having drinks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not taken birth, nor He has given birth to anyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having birth and giving birth. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of meeting death. Being a Muslim, we shall have to believe this. So this was verse number 100 and 101 from Suratul An'am, relevant in today's tafsir. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 88 to verse number 111 from Suratul Bani Israel. In 111, Suratul Bani Israel, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, قُلِ الْحَمْدُ لِلَّهِ الَّذِي لَمْ يَتَّخِذْ وَلَدًا وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ شَرِيكٌ فِي الْمُلْكِ وَلَمْ يَكُنْ لَهُ وَلِيٌّ مِّنَ الذُّلِّ وَكَبِّرْهُ تَكْبِيرًا. O Prophet, say, Alhamdulillah, all praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allazi lam yattakhiz walada. All praises are for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who does not have any son and who does not have any partner of His dominion, of His sovereignty. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the only owner of everything. He does not have any partner. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any guardian who will save him from the disrespect. And all praises are only for Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the greatest. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any partner. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any guardian. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not have any son or daughter. And all the sovereignty of the world, out of the world. Everything belongs to only Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He is the sole owner of everything. He does not have any partner. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is Suratul Maryam. In Suratul Maryam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, verse number 88 to 95. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا لَقَدْ جِئْتُمْ شَيْئًا إِدًّا تَكَادُ السَّمَاوَاتُ يَتَفَطَّرْنَ مِنْهُ وَتَنشَقُّ الْأَرْضُ وَتَخِرُّ الْجِبَالُ هَدًّا أَنْ دَعَوْا لِلرَّحْمَنِ وَلَدًا وَمَا يَنبَغِي لِلرَّحْمَنِ أَنْ يَتَّخِذَ وَلَدًا إِنْ كُلُّ مَنْ فِي السَّمَاوَاتِ وَالْأَرْضِ إِلَّا آتِي الرَّحْمَنِ عَبْدًا لَقَدْ أَحْصَاهُمْ وَعَدَّهُمْ عَدًّا وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. Here Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is refuting, disproving the false allegation of having son to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. وَقَالُوا اتَّخَذَ الرَّحْمَنُ وَلَدًا. The non-believers say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has taken son. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying here that this false allegation, it is so heinous offense that the skies will be broken, the mountains will be broken, the earth will be broken. It is the so heinous allegation, false allegation brought by the non-believers upon Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, determining, making partner, making sons and daughter, considering sons and daughter to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created everything, and every creatures whom Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given soul, given life, these creatures will be revived on the day of resurrection, on the day of judgment, on the day of Qiyamah. And وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. And each and every creatures created by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will remain present to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala individually. And on the day of judgment, on the day of resurrection, on the day of Qiyamah, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will count them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take accounts of their activities in the world. So, in the verse number 95, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has used the word farda. Farda means individually. وَكُلُّهُمْ آتِيهِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَرْدًا. Each and every creatures will be revived by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in order to give by them accounts to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala individually. So, we the people, sometimes we make criticisms to others. Making criticism to others, which is called ghibot in Arabic, is a heinous offense, is a heinous sin. Because on the day of resurrection, on the day of judgment, on the day of Qiyamah, on the day of revival, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will revive us, and we shall stand before Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala individually. So every one of us should think what we are going to give accounts, what accounts we are going to give to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Because in surah number 59, Suratul Hasr, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has clearly said in verse number 59, Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullah. O believers of Islam, afraid Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. And each and every person should think what he is going to show to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. What we are sending for the day of judgment. What we are sending for tomorrow. Here the word Gadin means tomorrow. Tomorrow means the day of judgment. Ya ayyuhallazina amanu taqullaha wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat ligad. Each and every person should think what he is sending for tomorrow. Tomorrow means for the day of judgment. Tomorrow means the day of resurrection. Tomorrow means the day of revival. That means after our death in this world, we shall be revived by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, in order to give accounts of our activities we are doing here. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have always belief. We shall have to always keep belief that what activities we are doing here. Because these activities will be examined, will be perused by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. And for that reason, we should do each and everything keeping before us the day of judgment. We should say anything keeping in mind that these sayings will be perused by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment. Before doing anything, before performing any jobs, before performing any activities, we should think that these action will be perused by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. These actions will be examined by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment, on the day of Qiyamah, on the day of resurrection. Next relevant verse in today's tafsir is verse number 91 to 92 from Suratul Mu'minun. In Suratul Mu'minun 91 to 92, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, مَا اتَّخَذَ اللَّهُ مِنْ وَلَدٍ وَمَا كَانَ مَعَهُ مِنْ إِلَٰهٍ إِذًا لَذَهَبَ كُلُّ إِلَٰهٍ بِمَا خَلَقَ وَلَعَلَى بَعْضُهُمْ عَلَى بَعْضٍ سُبْحَانَ اللَّهِ عَمَّا يَصِفُونَ عالم الغيب والشهادة فتعالى عما يشركون. The Holy Qur'an is a book of logic. Here Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a nice logic, a nice argument of not having any partner of Him. Someone makes partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Someone considers partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is refuting their false allegation, false claim. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that had Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala any partner of Him, His partner would have separated their creations. Suppose, had there any partner of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and He is the creator of the sun, He might say that today the sun will not rise. And other partner, who is the creator of moon, who will say that the moon will not give light at night. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving a nice example of His oneness in verse number 91. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, had there any partner of him, his partner would have taken their creations. And for that reason, there would have been indiscipline, there would have been mismanagement in the world. And being a human being, we should think that the world is running in only one rule. The world is running in only one law. Suppose the sun rises in the east and sets in the west. After day, night comes. After summer, winter comes. Rainy season comes. Everything is being done on only one rule. Everything is being occurred on only one law. Since everything is being done on only one rule, since everything is being occurred by only one law, that means creator of all these things are only one, and He is Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In verse number 91, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given a nice logic, a nice argument of His oneness. The people who have wisdom can think over it. A people, a man having wisdom should think over it. The Christians who are associating partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Jews who are associating partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Hindus who are associating partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the Buddhists who are associating partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they should think on this logic, that since the world is being run by only one law, since everything is being occurred by only one rule, creator of all these things is only one, and He is Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. A nice logic, a nice argument has been set up in this Holy Qur'an for the people who have wisdom. So from this Tafsirul Mahfil, I most humbly urge to all the non-believers of the world, please think over this and embrace Islam and come under the shelter of Tawheed and accept Islam and come under the umbrella of Islam. Through this Tafsirul Quran Mahfil, I would like to express this request to all the non-believers of the world. Please think over this. Verse number 91 from Suratul Mu'minun. And in verse number 92, Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Alimul ghaybi wa shahadati fata'ala, Alimul ghaybi wa shahadati fata'ala amma yushrikun. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows either hidden or open, either secret or open, either seen or unseen. Everything is known by Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Either seen or unseen, either hidden or open, everything is being known to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the faults of having any partner with Him. So this was verse number 91 and 92 from Suratul Mu'minun. Now inshallah we shall go to a very familiar surah, very petty, very small, but very familiar, and Suratul Ikhlas. Suratul Ikhlas is relevant in today's tafsir. In Suratul Ikhlas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying, Qul huwa Allahu ahad, Allahu samad, lam yalid wa lam yulad, wa lam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. O Prophet, say the non-believers, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is one. He does not have any partner. Allahus Samad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not dependent. Lam yalid wa lam yulad. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not given birth to anyone, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not taken birth from anyone. Walam yakul lahu kufuwan ahad. No one is as like equal with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. In Suratul Ikhlas, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given some characteristics of Him. Being a Muslim, we shall have to have belief. We shall have to have belief that our Creator is only one, and He is Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He does not have any son, He does not have any daughter, He does not have wife, He does not have any, He does not require any help of others. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require to have food. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require to have drinks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does not require to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never becomes tired. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of sleeping. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having son or daughter. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having a wife. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of having food or drinks. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not taken birth, nor He has given birth to anyone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will never die. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is free from the fault of meeting death. Being a Muslim, we shall have to keep these beliefs. Now inshallah we shall go to with some relevant hadith. Hadith means utterances of our beloved Prophet. Those are relevant in today's tafsir. An Abi Musa al-Ash'ari radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam ma ahadun asbara ala azan samiyahu min Allah yad'una lahu al-walada thumma yu'afihim wa yarzuquhum rawahu al-Bukhari. This hadith has been narrated by Abu Musa al-Ash'ari radhiyallahu anhu. He said, our beloved Prophet has said, no one is patient as like as Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most patient, because the non-believers consider sons for Him. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, hearing this false allegation, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them protection. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them sustenance. Rawahul Bukhari. The non-believers of the world, they are associating partner, they are making partners, they are considering partners with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But still then, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is so patient that still then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is protecting them, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is giving them sustenance. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most patient. No one is as patient as Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Rawahul Bukhari. An Abi Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu qala Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam wallazi nafsu Muhammadin biyadihi la yasma'u bi ahadun min hadhihi al-ummati yahudiyu wala nasraniyu summa yamut walam yu'min billazi ursiltu bihi illa kana min ashabin nar. Rawahu Muslim. This hadith has been narrated by Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu. Hazrat Abu Hurairah radhiyallahu anhu has narrated this hadith. He said, our beloved Prophet has said, by the name of Allah, that our beloved Prophet swears by the name of Allah, and our beloved Prophet said that either the Jews or the Christians who have heard my message and dies without accepting Islam will be the inhabitants of fire. That means either a Jews or a Christians if a Jew dies without accepting Islam, if a Christian dies without accepting Islam, without embracing Islam, he will be thrown on the fire. That means nowadays the Christians and the Jews will never enter in the Jannah, in the heaven, because Jews are associating partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by considering Hazrat Uzair alayhi salam as the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nauzubillahi min zalik. And Christians are making partner with Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, saying that Isa ibn Maryam is the son of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nauzubillahi min zalik. So, a Jews or a Christians, if they die without accepting Islam, they will be thrown in the fire. And similarly, if a Hindu dies without accepting Islam, he will be thrown on the fire. If a Buddhist dies without accepting Islam, he will be thrown in the fire. Rawahu Muslim. Last hadith in today's tafsir is An Ali ibn Abi Talib radiyallahu anhu قال رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم الإيمان معرفة بالقلب وقول باللسان وعمل بالأركان رواه ابن ماجه. This hadith has been narrated by Hazrat Ali radiallahu anhu, the fourth caliph of Islam. He said, our beloved Prophet has said, Iman means, faith means knowing Islam, knowing oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from heart. Wa qawlu bil lisani, and give the declaration through tongue. Wa amalu bil arkan, and they will have to make it in their life. They will have to make it, they will have to use it in their regular life, in their activities. That means Iman means having knowledge of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from heart. After having knowledge of oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from heart, we shall have to give declaration through tongue, through voice. And then we shall have to prove it by our activities. This hadith is inserted in Ibn Majah. So this was the tafsir of verse number 25 to 29 from Suratul Ambia regarding oneness of Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, regarding Tawheed, regarding main teachings of Islam. Now inshallah we shall have prayers to Almighty Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Before having prayer, let us recite Durud. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama sallaita ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma barik ala Muhammad wa ala ali Muhammad kama barakta ala Ibrahim wa ala ali Ibrahim innaka Hamidum Majid. Allahumma amin. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. اللهم اغفر لحينا وميتنا وشاهدنا وغائبنا وصغيرنا وكبيرنا وذكرنا وأنثانا. اللهم من أحييته منا فأحيه على الإسلام ومن توفيته منا فتوفه على الإيمان. ربنا ظلمنا أنفسنا وإن لم تغفر لنا وترحمنا لنكونن من الخاسرين. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. رب ارحمهما كما ربياني صغيرا. رب هب لي من الصالحين. رب زدني علما. أستغفر الله. اللهم إني أسألك الهدى والتقى والعفاف والغنى. Wallah, we some of your servants have been gathered in this Tafsirul Mahfil, and today we have discussed from your Holy Qur'an. We have made many mistakes. Please forgive our all mistakes and accept this Tafsirul Quran Mahfil. O Allah, please forgive our all sins. Please forgive us. Please forgive our parents and forefathers. Please forgive our all the relatives. O Allah, increase our sustenance. O Allah, you know what is in our hearts. Please fulfill our all good desires in our heart. وصلى الله تعالى على خير خلقه محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله.